Hello fellow kids, I made a video about the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict, though I will say before we start, this is primarily from a Jewish perspective, so if you're not interested in hearing our opinions, please stop using general relativity and click off now. Thank you. So we'll start out at the very beginning when the Jewish people first originated in a land called the Levant, not to be confused with the eggplant, that is a fruit. So basically there was a huge famine in the Levant, so the Israelites all went to Egypt, where they were then enslaved, and then when they escaped slavery in 1300 BCE, that's called the Exodus, and they went to Jerusalem and they built their first temple there, Solomon's temple, and they lived there peacefully until 597 BCE when the Babylonian Empire came along, destroyed their temple, and forced 90% of their population into exile, where they would live until 539 BCE when King Cyrus the Great let them back in. Then the Jews rebuilt their temple and everything was pretty great until 329 BCE when the Greeks took over Israel. But that was pretty fine under Alexander the Great. He let everyone have religious freedom. But then when he died, the Seleucids took over, and they were trying really hard to assimilate the Jews. And the Jews didn't like that, so they revolted. This is called the Maccabean Revolt. And we celebrate this every year as Hanukkah, sometimes called Marijuana. So the Maccabean dynasty ended in 63 AD when the Romans took over Israel, and the Romans were being pretty bad to the Jews, so in 66 AD they revolted, and by 70 AD, over 1 million Jews were dead and their second temple was destroyed. Then, in 132 AD, the Jews decided to revolt against the Romans again, and this time when they lost the war in 136, the Romans completely banished them from living in Judea, their province, and renamed it to Syria Palestina, specifically to destroy their connection with the land. In 1879, German journalist Wilhelm Marr coined the term antisemitism. He defined it specifically as a racial prejudice against Jews rather than a religious one because religious hatred wasn't cool. He believed that Jews controlled the world and had been conspiring so for over 1800 years, and he believed that Jews were oppressing Germans, Christians, and Aryans, and he called for resistance against the Jewish people. Essentially, Wilhelm Marr laid the foundation on which Hitler stood. Rising racial anti-Semitism quickly caught the attention of Europe's Jews, causing Theodor Herzl to pioneer Zionism in 1897. The goal of Zionism was to re-establish a Jewish state in Palestine, which was then controlled by the Ottoman Empire. The word Zionism comes from Zion, which is a hill in Jerusalem, and nowadays Zionism just refers to the belief that the state of Israel has a right to continue to exist. After World War I, Britain controlled Palestine, and in Britain's mandatory Palestine included all of Israel, all of Gaza, all of the West Bank, and all of Jordan. In 1916, Britain promised a Jewish national home in Palestine, but they walked back on this in the 1939 White Paper, trying to appease the Arabs who were unsatisfied with the number of Jewish settlers, namely Mufti Amin al-Husseini. Importantly, anyone who lived in the region before 1948, Jew or Arab or anything else, was called a Palestinian. Al-Husseini worked his entire life to prevent Israel from being established and was even funded by Nazi Germany, who, by 1945, had successfully murdered 6 million innocent Jewish people and over 5 million innocent other people, including Soviets, Poles, Romani people, queer people, disabled people, black people, and political enemies. Israel was granted independence from the UN in 1948, and immediately after that, 6 Arab nations, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq, all simultaneously attacked Israel. And while that was happening, almost 900,000 Jewish people living in the Middle East and North Africa were ethnically cleansed through means of stealing their assets, freezing their bank accounts, and attacking them. But wait, there's more! You may have known that many Nazi officials went to South America after the war, like Adolf Eichmann. But you probably didn't know that thousands found jobs and asylum in the Arab world, including Alois Brunner, Eichmann's right-hand man, who helped Assad's father build the Syrian torture prisons. Johann von Leers, Goebbels' assistant, who became an anti-Israel propagandist in Egypt in 1955. Francis Genoud, who supplied arms to the Palestinians starting in the 1960s. And Wilhelm Borner, who joined the Palestinian Liberation Organization. The Palestinian Liberation Organization was founded in an Arab League summit in Cairo in 1964, its sole goal being to free Palestine from the river to the sea by any means necessary. The Palestinian National Charter was written in 1968 after the Six-Day War, and in it, some articles say that basically Jordan and Palestine must be reunified, which backs up Zuhir Mohsen, a former PLO official's claim that the Palestinian people do not exist and are only created for political and tactical reasons. This claim is further supported by the fact that Palestinian leadership has rejected a two-state solution 9 whole times. Additionally, between 1948 and 1967, Gaza and the West Bank were controlled by Egypt and Jordan respectively, and Palestinian Authority never asked either of them for the land. Well, it's been 60 years since the PLO was founded, and fortunately some progress towards peace has been made. Like in 1979, Egypt recognized Israel under the Camp David Accords. In 1988, the PLO under Yasser Arafat renounced terrorism officially. In 1994, Jordan recognized Israel, and in 2020, 3 Arab nations, Bahrain, the UAE, and Morocco, officially agreed to make peace with Israel. Sadly, when Arafat died, the PLO was taken over by Mahmoud Abbas. Yes, this Mahmoud Abbas.
قتل اليهود لأنهم يهود وأن أوروبا تكره اليهود لأنهم يهود. لا، شرحت بالضبط على أنهم حاربوا هؤلاء بسبب وظيفتهم الاجتماعية وليس بسبب ديانة.
So clearly he's not the most interested in peace with the Jews. But since Hamas started this war on October 7, 2023, the PLO hasn't been a very big player. Let me tell you about Hamas. In 1988, Hamas published their official manifesto, and it reads quite a bit like Hitler's. Hitler once said, "The existence of the Jewish people is based on a continuous lie shown in the protocols of the elders of Zion. The Zionists try to make the rest of the world believe that a Palestinian state is enough for them, but in reality, they just want a central organization for their international world swindle." Hamas once said, "After Palestine, the Zionists aspire to expand from the Nile to the Euphrates. After they have digested this region, they want even further expansion. This plan is outlined in the protocols of the elders of Zion." Don't worry, there's more, but I'm not going to get into it in this video. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will compare and contrast the entirety of both. Knowing this, Hamas's actions on October 7th aren't much of a surprise, but what you may not know is where Hamas gets most of its money. It's the same place other jihad groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis get their money: Iran. Since 1984 and across 7 presidencies, the US has placed heavy sanctions on Iran. Iran funds Hamas an estimated $220 million per year, Hezbollah an estimated $700 million per year, bribes people to join the Yemeni Houthis, and has funded the Assad regime in Syria. In this video, I hope you've learned that the Israel-Palestine conflict is nothing new, and that it's not just Israel and Palestine, it's a region-wide conflict. The binary oppressor-victim mindset is very dangerous. Innocent people on all sides suffer, and that should not be belittled. One more thing, please feel free to leave me all your questions, concerns, criticisms in the comments, and if you could correctly tell me how many times my shirt changed in this video, I will give you my acai bowl recipe. Goodbye!